Alright, today I am going to show you features about this calculator. First, we will start with basic functions such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Addition works like this. If something is in parentheses, that means that so 7 plus 6 in parentheses times 3 equals 39. Now watch what happens when you switch the order of the parentheses. 7 plus 6 times 3 in parentheses equals 25. See, the result is different. Now, if you add a percent sign after a number, it means divided by 100. For example, if you took the number 456%, you get 4.56. And if you took 100%, it is the same as 1. And if you take percent, you get this number. Now, if you are working with trigonometric functions, you switch to DEG. Alright, now let's see what factorials do. Factorials are represented with the exclamation mark. For instance, the factorial of 2 is just 2, and the factorial of 3 is 6, because 3 times 2 times 1 equals 6. And the factorial of 4 is 24, because 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 equals 24. Times 5 equals 120. Times 6 equals 720. Times 7 equals 5040. We will stop there for now. Now, if you press this inverse button, you just switch all functions inversely. Let's see what sine does. The sine of 0 degrees is 0. Alright. And the sine of 30 degrees is exactly a half, or 0.5. The sine of 45 degrees is this number, which is the square root of 2 divided by 2. And the sine of 60 degrees is this number, which is the square root of 3 divided by 2. Now the sine of 90 equals 1, because that is the highest it can go. Now, if the degrees is greater than 90, such as 120, the sine will get lower again. As you can see, this number is equal to the sine of 60 degrees. Now, how about the sine of 180 degrees? The answer is 0. Alright, it goes back to 0. Now, if it goes higher than 180 degrees, watch what happens. Now the answer is negative. And the sine of 270 degrees is negative 1, which is the lowest it can go. And the sine of 360 degrees is back to 0, because that makes a full revolution around a circle. Alright, now, cosine is different. You see, the cosine of 0 degrees is 1. Alright, it starts as the highest it can go. Now, the cosine of 30 degrees is this number, which is the same as the sine of 60 degrees. The cosine of 45 degrees is this number, which is the same as sine of 45 degrees. And the cosine of 60 degrees is exactly a half, which is the same as sine of 30 degrees. And the cosine of 90 degrees is 0. Alright, now after 90 degrees, watch what happens. The numbers get negative. Alright, and the cosine of 180 degrees is -1. This is the lowest it can go. If you go higher than 180 degrees, watch what happens. The numbers get closer to 0, and the cosine of 270 degrees is 0. And the cosine of 360 degrees is 1. Now, tangent is even more different than sine or cosine, and you will see why. First of all, tangent shows the slope of a line. So, if the line was at 0 degrees, then the slope is 0. If tangent is 30 degrees, then the slope of the line is this number, which is the same as the square root of 3 divided by 3. And if tangent is 45 degrees, then the slope is 1. Alright? Alright. The tangent of 60 degrees is the same as the square root of 3. And as the degrees approaches 90, the result gets even higher. 90 for tangent, the answer is undefined because it goes infinitely. Now, if the degrees measurement goes over 90 degrees, then watch what happens. The result is negative numbers. It is interesting how this moves from positive infinity to negative infinity. The tangent of 135 degrees is -1. The tangent of 180 degrees is 0. And the process repeats after 180 degrees. The tangent of 270 degrees is undefined. And the tangent of 360 degrees is 0. Alright, now let's see what ln does. ln of 0 is negative infinity. Interesting. The ln of 1 is 0. Alright, and the ln of 2 is this number. Now, how do we make the answer equal to 1? Here is how we find out. The inverse of ln is e, which is the magical number for nature, and we're going to find out what it is. E is equal to 2.71828182846. Interesting. Now you can also take the inverse of any one of these trigonometric functions to get arcsine. Let's see what it does. Remember, if we take the inverse of any trigonometric functions, you switch the input and the output. So if you want an output of 0, then the degrees has to be 0. And if you want an answer of 1, then the degrees has to be 90. If you want an answer of a half, then the degrees has to be 30. Now please note that there's more than one answer to this question. The answer could have also said 150 degrees. However, the answer just shows the lowest number possible. Alright. And watch what happens if you force it to give an answer higher than 1, error, because sine cannot go above 1. Now, let's see what pi does. Pi is equal to 3.14159265359. Note, pi is an irrational number. Also, e is an irrational number. As you can see, e is equal to this number, which is irrational. Note that we just multiplied e by 2 to get this number. Alright. Now let's see what log is. The log of 0 degrees is negative infinity. Let's see why. The log of 1 is 0. The log of 10 is 1. Now log is based on the number 10, and the answer shows how many zeros are to the right of it. The log of 100 is 2 because there's 2 zeros to the right of 1. The log of 1000 is 3 because there are 3 zeros to the right of 1, and it keeps on going. However, what if you submit a number in between 1 and 10? You get this number. And that has to do with the inverse of exponential functions. But we will not discuss that today. Let's see what this does. The power of. In order to understand square roots, you have to understand the square of numbers. So if we took the square of 2, we get 4 because 2 times 2 equals 4. And if we took the square of 3, we get 9 because 3 times 3 equals 9. If we get the square of 4, we get 16 because 4 times 4 equals 16. And the square of 5 is 25 because 5 times 5 equals 25. Now, square roots are the inverse function of squaring a number. The square root of 25 is 5. And when you solve square roots, you are trying to figure out which number multiplied by itself equals that number. And the square root of 144 is 12, because 12 times 12 equals 144. Now, what would happen if you submitted a number that is not a square number, for instance, 8? You get an irrational number in between 2 and 3. Now, if you press A and S, watch what happens. Then you press plus 5. So what I did was I took my previous answer and added by 5 to get 14. That is what A and S does. Now, the last function that I will discuss is EXP. And watch what happens. This is a very powerful button. If you took 2 with a capital E of 5, you get 200,000 because you just added 5 zeros to the right of 2. If you took 5 with the capital E of 2, you get just 500 because there were 2 zeros to the right of 5. And if you took 5 with the capital E of 10, you get 50 billion. Now what would happen if you submit an even higher number, such as E20? You get this number, which is 20 zeros to the right of 5, which is an extremely large number. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you learned something from this video, and bye-bye.